Welcome back in the 143 under review episode
back
10,
in
baby.
the hizzy, baby.
Nick, how does it feel to hit double digits?
Pretty
episodes?
crazy. I mean, it's weird that 9 have already gone by, and we're currently working on our 10th.
Crazy, dude, crazy. And we obviously will make our way to 100,000.
100, yeah.
So we've got a really good one for y'all this week because not really breaking news anymore, but the GOAT, Tom Brady, is back.
He is back. Never should have left.
Never should have left.
He's back.
I must agree with that one. But we're super excited to talk about it because Aaron Rodgers doesn't have an easy shot to win the NFC now. And that's something that we can all rejoice in.
We'll discuss it later in
Yes.
this show, but
Let's start like
for
we
right
normally
now,
do.
yes.
Let's start it off with a stat. We have a doozy of a stat for y'all this week. Brought to you by Tate's Forge. Tate Pen, basically a blacksmith.
Quality knives
Quality knives, shivs,
and
spears.
other metal utensils.
That's true.
that
You could
I
probably make a
might
fork
need.
if you needed one because he's that talented. But this stat is brought to you by Tate's Forge. The stat is Tom Brady, out of the 22 seasons he's been in the NFL, has been to the Super Bowl 10 times. If you divide 10 by 22, you will get Tom Brady's percentage of going to the Super Bowl over his career. That is a 45% chance that Tom Brady makes it to the Super Bowl based on those numbers. Steph Curry, his career three-point shooting percentage, best shooter in basketball, pretty much undisputed at this point. His shooting three-point percentage over his career is 43%. So, based on those numbers, Tom Brady has a better chance of making it to the Super Bowl in a season than Steph Curry does of making a three-point shot, ladies and gentlemen.
What a crazy, crazy stat.
What a weird stat.
He is the GOAT, so
He is.
I mean,
and
goes without saying.
you're probably thinking, what did that stat come from? And that came from simple math, ladies and gentlemen. Simple math, because if Curry has a 43% chance of making a three-point shot and Brady has a 45% chance of making it to
the Super Bowl.
Then he therefore has a better chance of making it to the Super Bowl than Curry of making a three-point shot. If you don't agree with the math that I just did on that,
Do it yourself or look it up.
look it up, DM me. That's an actual stat. That's not a stat we made up. So, crazy stat. One of my favorites, actually. Brought to you by Tate's Forge.
Now for your player of the week. Already touched on him a little bit, and we'll be doing that a little bit more during this episode. It is Tom Brady, the
Undisputed
6th round
GOAT.
pick of his draft class. Pretty crazy, and
Crazy.
he's the greatest of all time. He's a 15-time Pro Bowler. Played a total of, well, actually, he's got 318 games right now, but more to come.
He will be adding to that.
Obviously, 4-time passing yard leader, 3-time MVP, and 3-time first All-Pro team. So, good for him. Obviously, undisputed GOAT, like we've said here multiple times, and he's going to do more great things to come because he retired but then came back. Didn't really have a reason to retire because he was still up for MVP this year.
Right.
Didn't really...
Should have won MVP.
Still
Should have
definitely
won
in his
MVP.
prime, if you ask me. Still absolutely clutch and whatnot. Always said he wanted to play till he was 45, and he was 44 right now. And
He's turning 45 in August.
this upcoming season would have been 45, so it didn't really make sense why he retired in the first place. But he's back, so whatever, I guess.
Let's talk about it. It's about
Let's get
time.
into it.
I think one of the coolest things about Tom Brady is in the sports media world, you have debates all the time. You know, the biggest one right now in basketball, LeBron or Jordan, which we will actually be having on this show probably next episode, featuring Bonner Brackeen.
Of the Bull Club.
Listen to that one. It's going to be a good one. But you do not have a debate with Brady and someone else as the GOAT because Brady is so far ahead of everyone else. I mean, he's even, if you think about it, Brady has won more championships in his sport than Jordan did in his sport. So, I mean, like, Brady is just the undisputed GOAT of football because he's won
And
7
I think
Super Bowls.
that means more because, in my opinion, I think it's harder to win a Super Bowl than it is to win an NBA championship.
I mean, you only have one shot to win
'Cause, like,
the Super Bowl.
in the NBA playoffs, the better team is always going to win because it's a 7-game series.
Right.
So the better team is always going to end up winning because like the underdog will get 1 or 2 games, but then obviously the better team is going to win 4 in the series. But like with football, you get one shot, which means anything could happen. It's one game.
That means you have to be clutch in that one moment. You don't get another shot. You don't get another chance.
Well, because like if you're the bad team, you only have to play one good game to beat this team. If you're a bad team in the NBA, then you got to play like phenomenal for at least 4 games.
Right. Like if I feel like if the Bengals and Chiefs,
you put the Bengals and the Chiefs in a 7-game series, I guarantee you the Chiefs would have won.
Yeah. So like football is cool because you have to be clutch in that one game, and if you're not, you suffer the consequences. But Brady is obviously the most clutch quarterback.
That's why he's a 7-time champion.
And he's been to 10 of them. That's just crazy numbers. And, people were saying, it's not. I guess the biggest debate was for a while, is it Brady or Belichick? Like, what's the reason for the success? So Brady leaves New England, goes to Tampa, first season there, wins a Super Bowl, and Belichick didn't even make it to the playoffs that season. So I think he pretty much silenced that debate. There is no debate anymore. Brady is the greatest of all time. And we definitely agree with that here on this show. I have seen a couple times where people try to make the case for Aaron Rodgers over Brady, but I don't know who in their right mind would do that. I mean, like, not even because we don't like Aaron Rodgers, just because, like, based on the stats, like...
He's not clutch in the playoffs.
No, he's only won 1 Super Bowl, 1-7. Like, that's not even
He's owned by a franchise, the 49ers. They're 4-0 against him
if we're saying Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady, then you would also have to say that Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady because he won
and Eli Manning.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't say that. Brady, awesome. I'm super pumped that he's back because I'm not sure I was looking forward. I mean, like, obviously looking forward to football being back, but without Brady, it's going to seem really weird, and that's coming at some point. But like you were saying, he's wanting to play till he's 45, and he retired right before.
When he was 44.
He's, like, at the top of his game. Like, he's playing crazy.
It's different because, like, when Big Ben got old, like, the older he got, like, dude, he fell off, yes, man. He was on the decline. Brady looks like he's like he was when he was playing when he was, I don't know, like 30-something.
Right.
If not better.
Pro Football Focus had him rated as the number 1 quarterback last season. And he did have the number 1 stats. Aaron Rodgers got MVP because he played better in the regular season than Brady, but that's also a debate you could have. But they both played really well in the regular season. And then Brady, like, I mean, it's debatable, I guess, but he was one of the top 2 quarterbacks this season, and then he just retired, and you're like, dude, and it was a heartbreaking loss.
There was
too,
at
they
home
came back
in the playoff game,
came back from a 27-3 deficit, and then lost at the end, and everyone was like, all right, we'll get him next year, and then Brady's like, I think I'm gonna retire.
People have also been making fun of the guy who bought Brady's last touchdown pass ball for like $518,000 or something dollars. I don't know, whatever. But like he's been getting roasted because it like wasn't actually his last touchdown pass. But stinks to be that guy right now.
Now he's got a very expensive paperweight that he can use on his desk, and it's now just one of Brady's touchdown
throws. It now means
throws.
absolutely nothing. So congrats on wasting your money.
I mean, I'm sure if he spent $518,000 on a ball, though, he probably has more where
enough
that came
money
from.
To do something else.
I feel like he does.
He's probably set.
I would assume so.
I would hope so for his sake.
Yeah, that's true. If not,
because it's not like
if not, start a GoFundMe.
It's not like he can
see what happens.
Sell the ball again for more than he bought it for because it is worth literally nothing.
About $10 now. I mean, Brady threw it, so it could be worth like 20. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know the math on that one.
Let's talk about Brady's odds. I mean, not odds, but chances to odds and chances are very similar. I'll go with both of them. Chances to win or odds to win the Super Bowl again. I think that Brady's got more free agent news. Matt Ryan has now been traded to the Colts, so the Falcons are sticking with. I think they're going with Marcus Mariota as their quarterback. And then you've got Sam Darnold for the Panthers, and then you've got Jameis Winston for the Saints, and then you've got Tom Brady for the Buccaneers. So I would say it's a pretty sure shot that the Bucs do it again.
Probably going to win the division again.
So that is, I say it's a given that they win the NFC South.
I mean, when we were talking, when we had Jake on, basically that whole episode you can essentially just throw out because everything we said just got like disproved or turned the opposite direction.
Yeah, so we
like
were all-
a few days later. We
we
were
were all
talking about how
discussing-
the Falcons were supposedly going to win the division because they had Matt Ryan
And
and
there was
whatnot.
no one else.
Brady wasn't on the Bucks. Okay, obviously the Saints still weren't sure on who they were going to have at quarterback.
Right.
And then the Panthers are just the Panthers. The Panthers are just awful, right? But then the Saints are sticking with Jameis, and then Brady comes back to the Bucks. Matt Ryan leaves to go to the Colts.
Well, that's
And
why
so-
the NFL offseason is just so crazy, and you have to listen to each one of our episodes every week because
Exactly,
we
yes.
update y'all on what's going on. Jake did an amazing job on the episode and helped us out a lot.
trying to plead a case for how good the Falcons are going to be.
But-
But if you're looking at it right now, I don't see it.
We
We were talking about how they could possibly
Yeah.
win the division, and I think they're going to be just as good as they have been, which is awful.
We will get Jake back on at some point to talk about the updated version of the Falcons.
The updated
and
episode
the
of the
NFC
Falcons.
South. But yes, it's heartbreaking for Jake. I know. So our thoughts are with him as he's going through this
And the
heartbreak. But I mean,
Falcons, yes.
as Cowboys fans, we're also trading away everyone good on our team, so we know how
Yeah.
it feels. But I mean, it's been a crazy offseason so far, and it's been a lot of fun.
Been a
to
lot
see.
of trades, yes.
I think they changed the cap space per team to like 209
Yeah.
million. And that has really affected whether or not you can keep good players. So we had to let Amari go, obviously. That was a heartbreaker. And then a lot of people have just been having, like the Seahawks had to let Bobby Wagner go, which we've already talked about.
Cowboys, pick him up, please.
Yeah, Jerry, if you're listening to this, which you should be, please pick Bobby Wagner up. He probably won't, but
Why would we do the smart thing, Joseph?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, we haven't done it this far, so why would we start now?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
But also, it's been fun to see some quarterback stuff happening, and so let's talk about the big one that just happened. Deshaun Watson
Back to the Browns.
to the Browns.
To the Browns, yes.
Yeah, he was never on them
Yes,
to
sir.
begin with.
Hey,
So
women
he
of
was-
Cleveland better be looking out because they got Deshaun Watson and Kareem Hunt to look out for.
and okay,
Everyone's-
and they have Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson. So I think that's going to be a really good duo right there. And Deshaun has shown, I mean, he hasn't played in a while, but he has shown that he is clutch. Like he is one of the definitions of clutch because he carried the Texans, who are not very
the
good,
Texans were awful.
and he carried them to the playoffs multiple times. So,
right.
I mean, he definitely
has a good weapon in Amari. I feel like their defense.
He's probably gonna have to
Pretty
shake
good.
some rust off.
Yeah.
But I think that was
What's
gonna
gonna happen? What's gonna happen is like the first, second, or third game. You know, he's probably not gonna do as well, and so everyone's gonna be roasting the Browns,
Oh,
being
it's-
like, "Oh, they're so stupid. They just made such an awful decision on taking Deshaun. Like, he's not gonna be good because he hasn't played in a year." But then, like as the season goes on, he'll get better, and I think he will actually be a very, very phenomenal quarterback
Dude,
this
you know
upcoming
what's
season.
crazy about Deshaun's contract? $230 million fully guaranteed. It broke the bank for the record of guaranteed contracts.
Dude, good for him, man. Figuring it out after his life almost fell apart.
Yeah, it is a little weird that he is facing 22 civil lawsuits of
Well, I mean,
sexual misconduct, and the man just made more money than
there
a
are
lot of
people
have.
complaining about how all the charges got dropped. Well, I got news
They
for
haven't
you.
dropped.
Or-
They're the criminal charges. Yeah, sorry.
Anyways, he ended up in Orange anyway, so whatever.
Just $230 million worth of orange. But, like, I mean, that's a crazy contract. Because before people were talking about, oh, it's crazy that Aaron Rodgers got $50 million a year. And then Deshaun Watson just comes out and
Blows it out of the water.
blows that sucker up. So, I mean.
Thank you, Deshaun, for
Yes.
silencing all the Rodgers chatter because nobody wants to hear that.
Nope. But I think so two divisions that will be really interesting to watch. The AFC West.
Yes.
And then
with the Broncos, the Chargers,
yes.
the Raiders, and the Chiefs.
And then the AFC North
Yes.
with the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers will be there. I don't think the Steelers will be a threat necessarily. Their defense is good though.
They're going to be in the exact same situation that the Bears were in the draft. When they drafted Trubisky, they were like, yes, Mitch Trubisky is going to be the answer. And then it's like, oh, maybe we should have taken
Someone
Deshaun
else, anyone else.
or literally anyone
Patrick
else.
Mahomes.
Yeah, the Steelers are going to run into this, I think, the same obstacle this year. They're going to be like, oh, maybe Mitch Trubisky isn't as good as we thought.
I'm just super excited for the AFC. Like, the AFC's good, like, now. Like, they're lethal. Now, the AFC South will be the AFC South. The AFC South is a lot like the NFC East. They're just not that great.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun to watch the AFC. And then another big trade. I love this trade. I know you did too. Devontae Adams to the Raiders.
Because he was not happy with the Packers trying to franchise tag him.
He didn't want to.
I wouldn't have been
franchise
either.
tag.
And also, he has experience with Derek Carr because they were both at Fresno State together.
So, yeah, the word on the street is Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are more than just old teammates. They're like best friends. So, as we know, like when Nicholas and I play football, we're lethal because we're best friends. And when you have that chemistry with someone, like it shows on the field. So, that's going to be
And
fun.
I think all they needed to do really was just get Derek Carr some weapons. Like
Yeah.
he did damage even though he had like nobody. His best receiver, Henry Ruggs, unfortunately, that man's gone. But like he has
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow is pretty lethal. And if
From
you
the
have
slot.
Hunter Renfrow as well as Devontae Adams, that is gonna
And Josh Jacobs
that's
out of the
gonna
backfield.
ruin
Darren Waller?
some secondaries because now like all they really had to worry about was Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, but now they got to worry about Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Devontae.
And
Adams.
Devontae's like the best, one of the best. Like, okay, he. I think right now it's safe to say he's the best receiver in football. Just based on his numbers.
I can now actually root for him and like want him to
Yes.
succeed.
That's what
'cause
I'm excited.
He's not
for.
on the
like-
he's not on the Packers. He's on the Raiders.
I'm so excited for that because I actually like Devontae Adams, but I couldn't root for him because he was on the Packers, and we can't stand the Packers. And so, like, now he's on the Raiders, and I love Derek Carr already. Like,
Derek Carr's a
Carr's
baller.
just a good dude.
I love
and his hair
Hunter
is
Renfrow.
awesome. And hot take: do you think that the hair of the quarterback is what made Devontae leave Green Bay and go to Las Vegas?
That's a good
Because
question.
Derek Carr has really sick hair. And
I'm
Aaron
sure he
Rodgers'
was
hair
like
looks terrible.
fed up. Like, dude, I'm not playing for this bozo with the one strap chin strap. Get me out of here.
That's probably true. There were reports. So Aaron Rodgers bled the Packers for everything they're worth. In
He does
his
that.
Contract.
He's been doing that for the past couple
But
years.
because of that, Devontae Adams was like, dude, like, what about me? Like, so Aaron basically just like kind of kicked Devontae to the curb, took all the money from the Packers. So now they didn't even really have any money to give Devontae, like what he was looking for, what he deserves.
What he's worth.
And so he's gone. So now Aaron has to fend
So
for
you
himself.
can have fun with no receivers.
Yeah. So now we'll be able to see some more about Aaron Rodgers now that he doesn't have the safety blanket of Devontae Adams. But also a big decision for his going to the Raiders is, I mean, would you rather play for little money in the frozen tundra of Green Bay, or you can go to Las Vegas in an indoor stadium, play with your best friend, and get paid like the number one
ton
receiver in
more.
the league? So, I mean, it was a clear, easy decision. And I am super excited to watch the Raiders this year.
Yes, absolutely.
I cannot wait. Especially just seeing Derek Carr finally have a shot to like be a real threat in that division. Because as we said, like that division will be the toughest division in football to win.
It'll be so fun to watch.
Derek
next
Carr,
year.
Justin Herbert,
Well, because
Russell
like
Wilson.
all those teams have, excuse me, sorry, they've stacked their teams, so that division is going to be pretty lethal. And obviously, like you said, it's going to be the toughest to win, but it'll be so much fun to watch.
It's going to be awesome. I will say that all those teams have great offenses, but it's probably going to come down to the defenses in that division. And the Broncos are looking like they have the best defense right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, you can never, ever count Patrick Mahomes out.
That offense is just too
The Chargers
lethal.
have shored up their defense a little bit.
Yes, they absolutely have.
And
Khalil
then
Mack.
the Raiders, I think they're trying still to, I mean, we still got time. So cannot wait to watch them.
Absolutely. I think we should talk about, I don't know what on earth the Colts have been doing for the past few years. Signing these old, washed QBs
To eating these massive contracts,
to these just
dude.
dumb one-year deals. Like they did it with Phillip Rivers. They did it with Carson Wentz, and now they're doing it with Matt Ryan.
Well, it's like the Colts have a lot of cap space. And then they sign like the most like average quarterbacks eating these massive contracts like they did with Carson Wentz. Now they have to do it with Matt Ryan. And I mean, I like Matt Ryan, but he's definitely way past his prime.
Oh, for sure.
So like
he's a decent quarterback, but it's like I don't really see value in signing him to a new team.
no.
It's just like let him have a couple more good years and where he was, and then send him off. Obviously, they kind of did him dirty.
If I were the Colts,
Falcons, just
yeah,
kinda
they
like,
did.
See you later.
Thanks
Bye.
for everything. If I were the Colts, I probably would have gotten Baker. I don't think that Baker's better than Matt Ryan necessarily. I think they're a lot of the same, but Baker is cheaper and younger.
I was about to
So,
say you have to look at it from a franchise standpoint. Like Matt Ryan.
Ryan does not make sense.
He's not going to last much longer, but
Like, Matt
obviously
Ryan
Baker
would
Mayfield's
be-
got a lot of games to play ahead of him.
Matt Ryan would be the option if you were like, we need to win a Super Bowl. Like the Matt Stafford, the
Yeah.
Rams. So like, we
Or
need to
like
win a Super Bowl
the
now.
Buccaneers
Yeah.
situation with Tom Brady.
But the Colts aren't winning it this year.
No,
they
they're
might not
not.
even win their division this year. Like the Titans might, except they have Ryan Tannehill. I don't know. So I mean, like,
yeah.
but it's kind of cool because the AFC South, it's going to come down to the running backs, Derrick Henry
Ooh,
and
boy.
Jonathan Taylor, the top 2 running backs in the league, and Jonathan Taylor's stud out of Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
Derrick Henry is the brick wall that runs through everyone
Hmm.
out of Bama. So I mean,
Hopefully that injury won't be nagging at him.
yeah,
He'll
hopefully
be
he stays
fresh.
uninjured. Derek Carr was a big reason that I fell off fantasy map because I was rolling and then I lost Derek and everything was kind of down south from there. So
Man, speaking of fantasy,
no, Nick, we
I
don't need to
can't-
talk about. No, I was just
I
saying.
can't remember, but like who won the league?
I don't really remember either because
Oh,
it wasn't important.
That was
so-
me. That's right. I just want to say that was probably like the greatest fantasy football. They should honestly make a
So
documentary
I'm
about
looking at like the segments we have here on this list,
that.
and I don't see fantasy football and Nick winning on any of like our segments that we were going to talk about today. So you're kind of just taking up like time just to talk about.
I'm sorry that I have to talk about greatness.
We are talking about great. We're talking about greatness about Brady and everything, but then you just brought yourself
Yeah.
up, and now that all just went out the window. Like I'm not even sure we should air this episode now because of you just talking about fantasy football.
Joseph doesn't want to hear, or doesn't want everyone
I
to
hear
hear
about
that
it every.
I beat him.
I hear about it every day. Why would I want to hear about it now?
Dude, because
It was like
it was
months
legendary.
Ago.
It was
months ago. And I still
legendary.
hear about it all the time.
man, oh man.
It's like every morning I wake up and I see Nicholas's shining face. Good morning, Joseph. Do you remember that I beat you in the fantasy championship? That
Sorry,
makes
but
me want
I'm
to punch
better
him.
than you.
Wow, you went there.
Went to the truth.
Let me get back to the originally scheduled programming.
Let's go back to talking about free agency.
But
So we don't
we
kill each other on the show.
kill each other after the show. But we will be super excited when football comes back. We're obviously diehard Cowboys fans, but I am not too excited
Just not
to watch
making
Cowboys
very
football this year.
smart moves.
I might just be watching AFC this year. That might just be what I do. But I know we're excited to see those divisions that we mentioned in the AFC play.
AFC is for sure a lot stronger.
And then our boy Brady coming back. It's just, I mean, he's going to be clutch. Like, he wouldn't
He
come
always
back
is,
unless
yeah.
he was like, I can do it again. And so, like he said, when he came back, there's unfinished business in Tampa. That's how everyone felt when he left. They were like, oh, that's weird. He's kind of leaving it like that. I mean, if Brady wins the Super Bowl this year, he's done. I think
he'll do
retired.
like the
I
Peyton
think he wants
Manning
to go out on
thing
top.
where he'll retire after
And
the
I
Super
think
Bowl
this
win.
could be his last year no matter what. So, Tampa, enjoy it while it lasts. Get yourself a Super Bowl out of it, by all means. Unless Dallas, for some reason, just comes out of nowhere and Dak
Decides to make some good offseason moves. but
plays like he should.
right now, we're not heading in the right direction.
No. But this free agency so far has been great. It kind of stunk because everything happened while we were gone.
Yeah,
For spring
gone
break.
for spring break.
So Nicholas and I
To
were
pre-record the episode, and it
we
was-
had good spring breaks, much needed, but we were definitely just looking at the news the entire time from ESPN, and it was like, man, I can't wait to talk about it. So I mean, Brady being back, super stoked,
Lots of free
as our boy
agency.
Sean likes to say, and
AFC West being loaded now.
stoked for football
I am.
and baseball. Now that baseball is back.
Yeah, but they're in spring training, so we don't have to talk about that right
No,
this
we
second.
won't be talking about it yet, but
Well,
it's been a good episode.
here as we like to end our shows on Under Review, it's our inspirational quote of the week. Something from football that then, therefore, also can apply to life
Exactly.
in general. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And that's the truth. That was by the great Vince Lombardi.
Let's go. Good old Vince, the only Packer that I actually like. Also, an update on something that has to do with our show. We asked a question a couple weeks ago with Jake on about what our following would be called. And we did some research. So basically, under review comes from, the term under review comes from, the play is under further review from the refs in football.
Reviewing a call.
And so we were like, what's another name for refs? I think we said it on the air, actually.
Zebras.
Mm-hmm. And so then we looked up what is a pack of zebras called, and it is called a dazzle. So if you are part of the under review following, you are now part of the dazzle.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
It's
And
actually a sick name. You should be
one
proud of
more
yourselves.
thing that I think we should point out is
Okay.
we still have like a few hats and mugs left.
That's true. If
So
you want a hat or mug.
if you're trying to cop one of those, just reach out to one of us. Obviously,
If you wanna
if
see
you don't
what they
have
look like,
any of
go
our
on the
personal
Instagram.
numbers, then just DM the Instagram page and they'll get back to you as soon as possible and try and
our
get you your
office will
stuff.
get back to you as soon as possible. And I think a pic is on the Instagram
Yes.
as well. If you
Yeah,
want to see what
there's
they
a
look
pic
like.
up
The
there.
hats are awesome. The mugs look super cool. I would like to again thank Andrew's Logistics for that sponsorship. And but yeah, it's been a good episode.
With that,
Super
we will see you
stoked.
next time.